IndiGlobal Media Network.
The theme being well-being of students and educators, revolution of health and happiness. So this is also a panel discussions. I would start by calling upon our panelists for this discussion. May I please call upon Shri Rami Reddy, MV, President Ramky Education Foundation onto the stage, please. Further, can I call upon Ms. Hema Surapaneni, Director and Mentor, Indic International School. Can I call upon Ms. Sonia Nagpal, Principal Gitanjali Vedika School. I would like to call upon Dr. Indira Jayakumar, Medical Director, Apollo Sunshine Foundation. Can we please have the introduction video?
I am proud. I'm proud to be an ambassador
of Apollo Shine.
At Apollo Shine, our kids know that campus health is a game changer.
I carry this super cool feeling with me, like a shield that keeps me safe and strong.
When it feels like I'm speaking to a friend, I don't ever have to worry. I am more aware, more present, and stronger than ever.
I used to take my health for granted, but now I understand that it's my most precious treasure.
Learning to look out for myself makes me feel unstoppable. I am learning to care for my family and friends because I love them so much. I used to hesitate to ask for help, but now I know it's a sign of strength.
What was once taboo is now an open conversation. This life helps me see the way to a future that's even more awesome.
We are a team armed with knowledge, ready to rock and roll.
At Apollo Shine, we're shaping resilient futures, equipping students with the vital care and support they need to shine and conquer any challenge.
Thank you. And to fulfill the panel discussion, I would like to call upon the moderator for this panel discussion, Ms. Anjali Razdan, Director Academics, Meluha International School.
Very good afternoon. Is it afternoon right now? Yeah. I think we just at 1 o'clock. So very good afternoon, my fellow panelists and the audience out here. I have a wonderful topic and I have assorted panelists. So when I was sitting on my area and I was wondering who is where, so we have a doctor in our panelist, I have a real estate gentleman in our panelist, and then we have 2-3 educators, including myself in the panelist. So what a wonderful assortment I have out here. So I was wondering, how do we touch upon the topic that's given to us, which is to do with education. But education, I was wondering again, that it has all the ingredients of what we are present here. So I'm so happy to all of you to be here with me. And I'll just read out what exactly is our topic, which is touching, I think, all of us here. So it says, the well-being of students and educators. The well-being of students and educators. One important thing. We talk about education, we talk about studies, we talk about assessments that the earlier group was talking about. But we are not talking about the well-being. If they're not well mentally and physically, the whole thing is not worth it. So the well-being of educators and students and the revolution of health and happiness. So I'm sure the doctor here will tell us about so the mental health, the physical health, and I'm sure Mr. Rami Reddy will tell us a little bit about the infrastructural health that adds to our attributes to the well-being of education. So I'm going to read out something which I could have said verbally, but I felt the written words here are much more meaningful, and this will be my prelude to our talk here. So the well-being of students and educators, which is the revolution of health and happiness, plays a critical role in education. And for the future, for the generations to come, of course. So, however, we also recognize, and this is a very important point, this is to all my fellow panelists, however, we also recognize that in the pursuit of excellence of education often comes at a cost. And the cost is with both students and educators. facing unprecedented levels of stress. Both of them face, we all face. So as we navigate the complexities of the modern education, so many things are now come in education, we think we are trying to make it easy, but actually it's not. As we get into this complexity, it is clear that the well-being of students and educators is not just a moral imperative, it's an essential ingredient of education now. But a strategic necessity. When we prioritize well-being, we create an environment which fosters creativity, which fosters collaboration, which fosters critical thinking, the so-called ingredients of 21st century. And we also empower students to become resilient. Resilient, it's a very simple word, but it's very complex when it comes to how do you make them resilient. Somebody in the morning said, what about, something like dealing with failures? Resilience comes somewhere from there. We empower students to become resilient, adaptable and compassionate leaders who can thrive in an ever-changing world. And world is very fast changing, technologically and otherwise also. So we can support educators to become role models. We can support educators to become mentors and agents of positive change who can inspire and nurture the next generation of leaders. Our kids are the next generation of leaders. By putting well-being at the heart of our education, now this is where the heart of our conversation is lying. By putting education at the heart of our conversation and of our education system, we can unlock the full potential of our students, our educators, and our communities, and create a brighter future and a sustainable future for the generations to come. So this is the heart of our conversation right now. And we are going to touch upon very randomly, without any kind of, structured format. We like to ask all of you a little bit about first the intricacies of education, and then I guess we'll go. So I'll not go in any order per se, but I'll try to go in the order of what we are actually dealing with. So I will not go to the doctor first, and I'll go to the doctor with the right questions. I'll go to the educationists first, right? So a good friend of ours, both of them, Miss Sonia Nagpal and Miss Jayakumar, Indira Suprineni. Sonia madam first. So what strategies can school and educational institutions, I repeat, what strategies can schools and educational institutions implement to prioritize students' mental health and well-being alongside academic achievement?
Thank you, Ms. Razdan. First of all, I would like to thank IndiGlobal for bringing up such an important topic and to elevate such a discussion. So, definitely what I feel is well-being is satisfaction with life, marked by feelings of happiness, content, and we as educators, we support our students all through. We cannot support them unless our batteries are charged. We cannot pour from an empty cup. So we need to be energized first. And the strategies for the children to be energized is that first of all, we need to be good listeners. We need to talk to them about their stressors. We need to teach them coping strategies. One of them being mindfulness, the relaxation activities. So I would like to share with you. I'm an English teacher who teaches grade 7 students, and I always start my class with a step. So it takes hardly 2 minutes. So randomly I call out a student. That student comes, he does the step, and everybody follows. So that gives them some kind of movement, some kind of freedom. You should see the happiness on their faces when they do this. Also, when I come into the class, one simple question which I ask on an everyday basis is, how are you doing today? So some students say happy, some of them say, ma'am, I'm a little sad. So you do discuss for them, with them for a minute or two, why are you sad? What's making you sad?
So they might say, you know, our teacher told me, why didn't you do your homework? But ma'am, this was actually the reason. So I think we need to listen to them. We need to talk to them. That is one very important thing. The other is strategies to take them out in the open and teach. So being in the nature definitely, induces the hormones of serotonin, which makes children calmer and happier. Another thing is to take the children or make them or partake them in decision making. So to ask them, what do you want to do? How can we improve our school? So that they have a sense of belongingness and community, which is so vital for the emotional well-being of students. When you know that you belong to something larger than your own self. So I think, ma'am, these are few of the strategies which we can have to, for the well-being of the students. And besides that, of course, we have our counselors, whom we refer to whenever we see a student not behaving in their normal, usual self. We do refer them to the counselor so that, the counselor can talk and give guidance. So that is my take on it, ma'am.
So very well said, Sonia ma'am. I think, I'm going a step further to what Sonia ma'am said. She said counselors. But nowadays, I think every teacher is a counselor also. And that's what we must have in our schools. Because now a teacher is not a teacher. We like to take it to the government of India right now, what I'm going to say right now. It's not teachers. Teachers are managers nowadays. They're managers of emotions. They're managers of with the parents' interaction. They're managers of academics. They're managers of, when they have annual days and some days, and also they also become the sports teacher and the dance teacher. And they also teach. It's like Tata Steel ad. We do this, we do that, we do that. And we also make steel. So teachers technically now are not teachers. They are managers. So one part of their management would be that to see the emotions of a child and get on with how do you deal with that child. I think that if the child is good, trust me, the education system becomes so much better. So, but what happens when the teacher themselves are stressed out? So this is my next question to the doctor, Indira. Let's see what Dr. Indira has to give us an advice, all of us need it actually, about what do you do when, when you're stressed. So my question to you is that, let's go on to the next question. So how can educators, you're a doctor, how can educators effectively manage their own stress and burnout? And what support system are essential for their well-being? Let's hear it from her.
Good morning. To the molders and shapers of the future citizens of India, our teachers, educators and institutional heads, my humble pranam. I'm a doctor. I'm a pediatric intensivist looking after sick children, cancer children and stem cell transplant children in the intensive care, and also the medical director of Apollo Shine Foundation, which is basically a campus student health initiative. So Shine stands for Student Health Initiative. We have first aid rooms in about 65 centers, institutions in 5 states, 10 cities, and we are tied up with 125 educational institutions. And I'm sitting here in front of you today to share the experience and knowledge that I have gleaned over the last 9 years working with the Apollo Shine Foundation. So, well-being, I'm so very happy, and I feel our children and students are blessed. I was so impressed by the previous speakers and the panel discussion. So much thought, so much brainstorming to improve. Now we are talking about the well-being, happiness. We have come a full cycle, I think, in life, in the education. We had the Gurukul, where every student, the teacher knew, took care of the holistic, education. Somebody has said, do not confuse my schooling with education. It's a lot more. And today in a panel, we are talking about happiness, health, apart from education. And if you look here in front, so the IndiGlobal, you have your IndiGlobal Summit, and there is a cancer prevention by the IndiGlobal as well. So you have education and health. So when we're talking about students' health, it goes without saying that the educators also need to be well taken care of. I feel it's a change. We're talking about a transformation in education, a revolution, as the panel, heading also said, where the well-being, the culture in the institution has to change. Everybody should feel valued, appreciated, recognized. I think that is very important in any organization, and it's that essence starts from the top. So that is the institutional heads, the owners have to inculcate that spirit of belonging, that they are making the change to their, the wards. Now, I'm a doctor. We have done a lot of screening as part of the Shine Foundation, not only of students, we also do free screening for the staff and support staff. And my message, I don't know how many of you have done a health check, but I think that's very important, because when you look at well-being, it's about healthy and happy. So the health is also, it's about physical, mental, social well-being. So please, teachers, educators, do not neglect your health, first and foremost. If you have to take care of yourself first, like the oxygen mask first in the flight before you put on your students, so please take care of yourselves, get health checks. We have found out that so many support staff and staff are hypertensive, they have diabetes, and they haven't even had time to have a health check. So it's not only the mental well-being of the staff, please ensure. In fact, I think the principals should ensure that all your staff have had their health checks. That is number one. Take time out for yourself. We all need time. We all, things can get, too, it's a very, maddening world where there's always something to be done. So unless you take time out for yourself, that is not going to happen. So we have to be a little selfish at times to be kind to others. So that's my take. Please do have your health checks.
So well said. I guess all of us have some of the other problems. None of us, I think, as educators, I think we are not medically fit. So you rightly said, I think we should have some medical fitness tests done compulsorily, once in a year or something, to make us medically healthy, mentally and physically fit. You did talk about the medical fitness, the health fitness. What about the stress factor? Is there anything that you can suggest? What do you do for stress? There are children nowadays who say, I'm eating too many chocolates, so I'm very stressed out. The spelling of stress is not known, but they call it as stress. But I'm talking about, not on a lighter side, but on the more serious side. What do you suggest to us men educators who sit in our chair, or we move around to see how the kids are doing, and we are pained when a child is pained, and yet we keep our cool when we go home, and then we attend to a family, and then again next day we put on a mask, and we're back again to a smiling face with the other educators. How do we keep our stress out? This builds us. A little bit tip on that, Doc?
I think it's like asking me as an intensivist with night calls, how do you go get back the next day and still smile and look after your patient? So, yeah. So that, I think a lot of it was passion. If somebody does something that they love, they are passionate about, then they won't find it too stressful. So I think if it's in a job, you're in a job that you like and are passionate about, that itself is half this, it's less stress. Next is prioritize your work. There are a lot of things that need to be done, but if you prioritize and don't take on too much responsibilities, ask for help, I think that will also help a lot, both at work as well as at home. Now, I have seen that there is a reality show by Japanese about children. It's called, I forget, where they have to do their chores. They have to go and do shopping. I just forget the name. But I think in Japan, they teach children to be self-reliant, to share the family household chores. I think we are spoiling our children, our students. They only go to school to learn. I have to pass in this exam, my marks, and nothing else. It's as if for the next, from kindergarten to high school, the world only revolves around their studies. We are not holistically educating them. I think as educators, we have to teach children to shoulder family responsibilities, to take part in the family. You know, many times I ask the students, what is the ambulance number that you will call if there is an emergency at home? And they do not know. In the West, they would think 911. If somebody, my grandfather or my parent had, you know, a chest pain, I will call 911. But you can ask your students in the class, do they know which ambulance number to call? I don't think they know. Do they have a health insurance? No. So I think we are, you know, it's like blinkers in the eyes. Academics is not, education is much. We should make them independent. So when they go out to the big world, they know about little bit of finance, how to manage finance. They know what their parents are undergoing. They know what is insurance, medical insurance. They know which hospital to take to if somebody in the household gets it. I think that is education. So as Apollo Shine Foundation, we are also teaching first aid and basic life support. What if there's an emergency in the house? Do they know how to react? Or is it only 2 + 2 = 4? So that is something, if we teach our family, our, this, of course, spouse will have to help, also our children to pitch in, it's less of a burden for the working mother. And that's very, very important. Shared responsibility will lessen the burden of every working woman.
So definitely for the educators, I feel there is a lot of stress. We all understand that there's a lot of burden, and according to the recent UNESCO report on teachers, by 2030 there'll be a shortage of 44 million teachers worldwide, and that is because of, you know, large class sizes, overburdened educators, and educational disparities. So UNESCO suggests that beyond the recruitment, we need to take care of teacher motivation, the well-being, training, and the work culture. And like I said earlier, we cannot pour anything from an empty cup. If the teacher is drained and fatigued and stressed, what can she give to the children? So she needs to get energized little by little. I think we need to teach our teachers to take short breaks, take out that me time. And this capacity, I think we all know, we develop over time. When we also began as educators, we used to get stressed at small little things. But now, over time, we have learned that capacity to cope up with things. So we need to give that space and time to the teachers and provide that support network to them, that we are there for you. Peer support network should be there. They should know that in this situation, I'm not alone. Everyone else also validates my feeling. Today I didn't have a good day. Today I'm really exhausted. So many of us feel that. Do we voice it out? So the others should also be validating, and the stressed out teacher should feel, I'm not alone in this battle. There are so many, you know, like me. And together we are going to find a solution. So that is what I think, ma'am, the educators need to do. Beautiful. We need to take regular breaks, take out the me time.
I'm glad we had this topic here, because this is such a pent-up emotion in all of the teaching fraternity, and we don't even know how to talk, how to say, how to express it. What do? You're supposed to be a super person, Superman or Superwoman, trying to handle everything, but at the end of it, we cannot. We just can't. So therefore, there's a burnout, and I'm so glad Doctor said it all, and of course, my good friend Sonia also added to that. If there's a healthy teacher, then there's a healthy child, mentally healthy I'm talking about. Physically, I think that's their own personal choice. There's a healthy principal, and there's a healthy teachers. There's a healthy director, management, there are healthy principals and teachers and the rest of it. So much depends on the health of the entire setup, right? And how much importance are we giving? We just got to know right now. How much importance are we giving to this mental and physical health in our systems is a bit scary, because it's not given importance. Let's be very frank about it. It's not given. So I think time that on this kind of forums that we have, thank you IndiGlobal for giving us these beautiful forums. This is the time to express and to debate and to delegate about what do we do to get on with our Because a teacher might want a break, a principal might want a break, but will the management give it? So the management also has to be equally sensitive to kind of giving them breaks so that in turn they give their best. And that's very important. So that's very nice. So now I come to the infrastructure. So I was talking to Rami Reddy's Garu, I said, I'm a misfit in education. I said, no sir, you are actually going to contribute to so much of education because all of us depend on somewhere or the other in your infrastructure, in your other parameters that you have. So my question to you, sir, is, so how can policy makers, administrators, teachers, people like you, real estate people, collaborate to create systematic changes that support the well-being of both students and educators, leading to a revolution of health and happiness in education?
Thank you. First of all, I strongly feel that by mistake, Mr. Sudhir Gautam has selected me to participate in this panel discussion because I studied in Telugu medium. I am no way concerned with the education excellence, but still I feel that it's an opportunity for me to share some of the important points. I represent Ramky Foundation. I am heading Ramky Foundation, which is a CSR wing of Ramky group of companies. So I think instead of giving some general statements or any other kind of theoretical points, I think it is always best to give live example or what we have been doing, what we have been excelled through our foundation. I think it's more relevant. Yeah, ma'am, actually, I would like to give very live example. In 2020, we had a baseline survey at one of our waste management sites, Hyderabad Waste Management Project, located in Dundigal, and identified that there are some critical issues in Dundigal Jilla Parishad High School. That survey revealed that there are that school has been lacking of basic infrastructure and sanitary facilities, etc. Until then, what we have been doing is we have been organizing some sporadic events like organizing 1 hour awareness sessions, organizing medical camps, distributing notebooks like that. But I realized through that survey, I realized that that was not the correct strategy. So I sat with my planning team and designed a special program called Integrated Schooling and Holistic Approach. Simply ISHA ISHA. We call it as ISHA program. So we have started implementing that program in Dundigal High School. So for that, again, we had a need assessment survey, and after getting the result of that survey, we started addressing the needs of the school, that particular school, through which we have constructed, first we have constructed toilets, washrooms and toilets for both the staffs and students, and reconstructed that kitchen shed, and renovated the dining hall, and everything, basic infrastructure we have been provided everything. Also recruited extra teachers because there are lacking of teachers. The government has not recruited new teachers. That gap also has been filled with our support. Like that, we have supported the school in such a way. After 3 years now, any of you can go and visit that Dundigal school. It seems just like a very big corporate school. So that is a government school. So in such a way, what I strongly feel that each and every corporate sector adapts to some of the schools. So now, then onwards, I have been adapting 5 schools per every year, and the program runs for 3 years, and then thereby they will take care of themselves. So like that, I think it is one of the best practices for any other corporates also. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reddy. I was talking to Mr. Reddy earlier, and I said, why doesn't Ramky open up more schools? You know, they'll have all the best things that you talked about. And if you can give that to private schools also, we private schools are, much more hungrier than the government schools.
Excellent.
Let me tell you that.
Excellent idea, madam. But definitely, I will sit with you later.
You will pass on to, yes. The
Yeah,
Ramky
yeah.
group saying.
First, let me discuss with my management, and definitely will
No, you
consult.
don't need to commit right here, sir, in the forum, it's okay.
Yeah,
What I'm trying to say is, it's people like, and the mindset like that we need for the today's generation schools, which have all the ingredients of what we're talking about. We're talking about mental health, emotional well-being, this, that, and the other. Academics, the group before us was talking so much about academics. And also like to just blend one part of it, which I think doctor was talking about. There's a difference between education and literacy. We are talking about education. We're not talking about literacy. Literacy, everybody is there. They can do it, A, B, C, D, and then they're literate. But education is beyond literacy. So we are talking about that other facets which need to be incorporated in our system. That's wonderful, sir.
Excellent idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm now going to the educationists per se. So to Hema ma'am. So ma'am, you know everything. We have been dealing with kids and all, so it's very easy for you and let's say Sonia ma'am to talk about education. But we are talking here in a different angle. So my question to you is, how can we foster a culture shift in education? Education, not literacy. How can we foster a culture shift in education to emphasize happiness, to emphasize resilience and social emotional earnings or learnings alongside academic success? Something that you can tell us.
Yeah, thank you, Anjali. Good afternoon to one and all. And I would like to start with a little statistical data where in 2012, there was an information in the article, a journal, medical journal, Lancet Medical Journal, which says it's a very worrisome information that was given, which said that India tops or ranks the highest where it comes to the child and adolescent suicidal deaths. So, and this particular figure or percentage was just continuously going higher and higher every passing year. In 2017, the World Health Organization, they have again made another worrisome announcement saying that our students, Indian students, every third Indian student is actually suffering from depression. So these were the points that many educationists were working upon for very, very long time. 2018, India is not lagging behind in education. We are doing so much, but only it has to be brought out into the discussion and to the limelight as to what India was doing. The government of Delhi, across 1,000+ schools, has introduced a happiness curriculum. And this curriculum was designed by bringing in the Dream a Dream mental health professionals and educationists, some researchers, and they have started this innovative happiness curriculum. And within 2 years, they have introduced in various steps, and within 2 years, around 8 lakh students, there was a positive impact, and we could see a lot of change, a positivity, and the deaths or the suicidal rates or the depression has come down. So what are the elements of this happy curriculum? So when we're talking about education shift, these are the great shifts we have to talk about. Happiness curriculum, if you see the elements, the first and foremost is self-awareness, then the life skills to deal with stress and good relationships, critical thinking, and social and emotional well-being is very, very much taken into consideration. Empathy and compassion, where a lot of animal and plant care has become a part and parcel of the school education system. And most importantly, I would like to actually extend how to deal with stress. So the stress is the most important aspect that this happy curriculum has addressed, wherein they brought in a program called as a mindfulness. And this mindfulness, how they introduced in schools, intermittently every 2 hours or 3 hours, they had a session or a break of 10 minutes, wherein the student gets disconnected with the surroundings. He just sits to himself, closes his eyes, and focuses on his breathing. During which, I'm sure doctor agrees with me, the brain actually gets disconnected and it goes into the alpha mode or alpha wave mode, where the critical thinking and problem solving skills get into action. And this leads to a multi-dimensional problem solving skills in child. This is just one aspect, or I would say the outcome or the good result of being mindfulness, but there are so many good benefits and the most important is how to deal with the stress in schools. And the child is free to just sit and then get back. It's a rejuvenation session that a child can have. So mindfulness is a very, very important aspect as a part of happiness curriculum. And when we talk about the happiness quotient that you were talking about, and this happiness quotient, if you have to talk, or if you just ask us what are the nations that rank the top with happiness quotient, you will talk about Finland, and which has been ranking the top for the last 7 consecutive years. And followed by Denmark and Iceland, not to leave behind Israel apart from these Scandinavian countries. So what are the best practices that we can take from this? They say that the first foremost criteria that brings in the happy nation or the happiness quotient is education. So we have to adopt good practices that have been working in these Scandinavian countries. It's just not about adapting good practices, it's also about abolishing bad practices. So that is very important. We always try to adapt good things, but we do not understand that some redundant bad practices have to be totally abolished. So when you take up the well-being and bringing in the educational shift in the well-being of students, we have to look at a very safe and inclusive environment where the child actually is very happy. He's given opportunities, equity over excellence. And every child is treated equally, irrespective of, regardless of what background and what abilities they have. And physical well-being is another thing. We have to talk about food before we talk about exercise, because good food actually gives good body and good mind. So without having a good mind, and you can see that the government of India is giving a midday meal program, which is actually very successful, I would say. But it is not about the children who cannot afford a good meal. It is about the affluent class. I'm talking about the children we deal in day to day in our schools. We see that these kids become very picky and choosy about what they eat, and they thrive on fast foods. So because of which the result, a lot of deficiencies and hormonal imbalances, obesity. So there are many, many problems that actually crop up, and these children's academic performance again is affected. And again, thus causing a disturbance, or there's no student engagement per se. And when you talk about emotional or mental illnesses, the minute a child falls sick, the parents rush the child to the doctor. And the doctor diagnoses the problem, and if the parent is not happy, he goes to the second doctor for a second opinion as well. But how many of us are very confident in talking about the mental illnesses of children? We have too many inhibitions. And the symptoms of mental illnesses here are anxiety, stress, depression, aggression, irritation, and memory loss, eating disorders, insomnia. So there's so many aspects of the symptoms of mental disorders, and we do not have the courage to speak about it. If the teacher or educator identifies these problems, then it is, again, she takes 2 to 3 steps backwards to discuss this with the parent, because there is a denial mode. And we have to educate the parent before we talk about these symptoms. And as earlier the point has come up, every school needs a clinical psychologist and a counselor, so that there's a place to go for the parent and the child, and it can be addressed. These mental illnesses or the symptoms can be addressed at the earliest before it leads to much serious problem. And when it comes to emotional well-being of the student in the educational shift that I'm talking about, it is about branding and categorizing the child. We educators do it all the time. He is a slow learner, he's an average child, he's a gifted child. So we're always branding a child, categorizing it, and when it comes to the child is already resigned to the thought, it's okay, I'm a slow learner, I don't have to do much, I don't have to work hard. So it actually demotivates the child for not performing or moving on to the next level of performance. So this is where we have to understand. And then they have a lot of societal pressure. A child who's giving a competitive exam or a 12th grade exam or a 10th grade exam, more than the parents, the friends, relatives, extended families, people around us, hey, what happened to your child? How did he perform? And the child is like a pressure cooker one day before the result is announced. And you see the recent scenario that has happened in the NEET entrance examinations for the medical students, undergrad medical students. And this particular thing, somebody sitting in Russia has hacked the paper and the paper got leaked. It was announced, the government announced that there's going to be re-exam. The students who sweated out and worked so hard for 3 long years, they have to perform in 3 hours. And these 3 hours are going to decide the fate or the destiny of the student. So this is very pathetic. And now, after going through all this exercise, they say that there's a paper leak and the exam is cancelled. Since last 1.5 months, you see the suicidal deaths that we come across in the papers everywhere. This morning, 2 girls in Chandigarh passed away, or they hung themselves because of this. So what are we doing? Are we driving the students towards this kind of emotional imbalance? And what causes stress? So these are the practices we need to abolish totally and bring in. So you might ask me, what do we do about the assessments? Like I had a kind of understanding from the assessments. So we actually need to bring in continuous comprehensive evaluations where the reports are passed on from 1 year of educator to the next level of educators from year 1 to year 18, where the child is very well understood by the educator who's handling the student. So to overcome these deficiencies. So I would say that the social, mental, physical and spiritual growth has to be taken into consideration for the well-being of both educators and also the students. Then you can see there's a trust that is built in the school system, and you can see the educators and the students both feel very valued. And happiness, when you say the shift in the education, happiness is very, very contagious. So it is contagious and infectious. I would say, just let's spread the infection. Let's get infected, let's spread the infection. And I think together we have to create a pandemic of happiness. And this happiness has to come to the education across the globe. Thank you so much.
I think that was a wonderful sum up of all that we could have spoken here. I wanted to go on, but then I was told that we just have a couple of minutes more. The doctor is definitely an advisor for all of us. Since we are talking, we're going to walk the talk. What are we going to do here? We're going to do 1 minute of mindfulness with all of us. Are you ready? All of us? Let's do it. Yes. Let's do it. So what we're going to do is, we're going to do mindfulness. Remember? Everybody spoke about mindfulness. What is this mindfulness? Minding about the present, right now. And so are we also. Don't think of what you're going to do in school now. After that, it's there. For everybody who's sitting here, we'll do 1 minute of mindfulness. Will you do it? So for that, what you have to do is just close your eyes. And I'll give you some instructions. Just 1 minute, that's all. So close your eyes. When we tell our children to close their eyes, trust me, 50% keep their eyes open. And then I have to show them, eyes are here, here, here. And then they close it. It happens, it happens. So eyes are here, just gently close them, not tightly close them. So eyes are closed. Let's talk about and think about your breath. All of us are breathing. All of us are living here, and so we're breathing. But observe your breath. It's going in and it's coming out. Keep on thinking about your breath. Keep on putting your mind on your breath. Is it slow? If you think it's normal, how? So listen to your breath. In, out. In and out. In and out. This is doing for yourself. You're not doing it for others. Remember? Welcome back to IndiGlobal conference. This was just a moment for putting your mind at this moment. The only way we put our mind in mindfulness is put the mind in the present. We are either future or we are past. It's always fluctuating. So to put a mind on the present is mindfulness. Very simple, but yet so effective. And this is one moment which we always never think of, the present. With this thought, I thank all the participants and panelists out here, and all of you here for bearing with us for this mindfulness breathing session. Thank you so much. Take care. God bless.
Thank you all the panelists for such a lovely discussion which talks about health and happiness and how do we derive well-being of students. It's a very evident topic and the exercise of mindfulness did bring us to the present. Thank you, ma'am. So moving ahead, I would like to call upon Dr. G.V. Gupta, who is representing Commissioner and Director, School Education Department.
IndiGlobal Media Network, taking innovation, collaboration and growth to the forefront.